To the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Wong. Minister, independent analysis from the Parliamentary Budget Office has shown that Labor's budget assumes that the public service will decrease by more than 20,000 over 4 years from the 1st of July 2025 compared to the current level of 209,150.
Order.
The PBO has calculated that it will cost the budget an additional $11.1 billion to retain this public service.
I'm sorry, Senator Hume, please resume your seat. Senators on my right. I can barely hear Senator Hume. Senator Hume, please continue.
Thank you, Madam President. The PBO has calculated that it will cost the budget an additional $11.1 billion to retain these public servants, money that the government has not budgeted for. Minister, on behalf of the Prime Minister, can you confirm that the government has not yet decided to keep the public service at its current level, or do you have an $11 billion black hole?
Thank you, Senator Hume. Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. Well, I'm very happy to take this question from the Shadow Minister for Finance. She obviously is so worried about how well Senator Gallagher will answer the question that she isn't prepared to put the question to the minister she shadows, and I can understand why. I'm also happy to take a question from the Shadow Minister for Finance about APS job cuts, given her policy is 36,000 jobs to go, given that's the policy that she is advocating. And I'm also happy to take a question from the Shadow Minister for Finance for a party that took jobs out of the Department of Veterans Affairs, which left veterans without the support they deserved. Some 42,000 veterans with unallocated claims that you presided over because you weren't prepared to fund the Department of Veterans Affairs. So, these are just some of the highlights of the way in which those opposites have no credibility when it comes to these issues. And every question from them on this and every utterance from the Shadow Minister for Finance should be taken with a very large grain of salt. I would make this point. The exact same methodologies are employed to forecast wages and salaries in our budgets as occurred under the former government. Entities make forecasts on how much of their departmental budget will be spent on wages and salaries, and these entity forecasts are aggregated into the budget document. So, I know that the Shadow Minister for Finance wants a bit of spooky music to try to get some headline, but the reality is the big black hole is the one Mr Dutton is presiding over, with his $600 billion black hole for the nuclear fantasy that he wants to impose on Australians.
Order across the chamber. Order. Senator Hume, first supplementary.
Thank you, Madam President. The analysis by the PBO confirms that the government has either been deliberately dishonest in hiding the true cost to retain this bloated public service, or Labor's budget is not credible. The minister states that these figures reflect decisions that have not been taken, but then states that the public service will remain at current levels under Labor. Can you confirm, Minister, that the Prime Minister has decided to keep the public service at current levels?
Thank you, Senator Hume. Minister Wong.
Well, I'm a little I think all of us are a little bemused at which line the Shadow Minister of Finance is actually running. Is she saying the public service is too big or too small? It's an interesting. They want to have it both ways. Well, I mean, what we do know is they want Mr Dutton wants to remove some 36,000 jobs, and we know what Liberal governments have previously done when it comes to the public service. We also know what's in the budget papers, and either the Shadow Minister for Finance is unable to read the budget papers properly, or she is deliberately misleading about what she is being deliberately misleading about what those budget papers contain. And what I'd say to her is that these are the same methodologies that governments past have used in relation to the forecasting of wages and salaries. I'm sorry if you can't understand that, Senator Hume.
Please resume your seat. Order. Senator Hume.
Sorry. Point of order.
Sorry, Senator Hume. Senator McKenzie, come to order. Senator McGrath. Senator Hume.
Point of order on relevance. The question was, have you decided to keep the public service at current levels? That's it.
The minister is being relevant to your question, Senator Hume. Minister, please resume your seat. Senator Wong, please. Senator McKenzie, withdraw, and Senator McGrath, withdraw.
I withdraw.
Minister, please continue. Minister, yeah.
Senator, what I'd say to you is I think Senator Gallagher responded very, very clearly and very well on this in Insiders yesterday with excellent.
Senator Hume, second supplementary.
Thank you. Yesterday, in relation to the size of the public service, the Minister for Finance stated that she believed, "I think we've resourced it properly now." Yet, the PBO costing confirms in Labor's own budget that the budget will assume a reduction in the APS that the minister has in fact ruled out. Given the Prime Minister has committed to being honest about his budgets, how does he explain this shoddy deception?
Order. Order on my right. Order on my right. Minister Gallagher. Order. Order on my right. Minister Wong.
President, the political exercise by the opposition ignores that the approach to APS wages is exactly the same as it was under 9 long years of LNP government. It's calculated in the same way. But if the Shadow Minister for Finance actually is a fiscal conservative, I look forward to her telling Australians where the $350 billion reduction is going to come from, where those cuts are going to come from. We think they're probably health and education, judging by past practice, and I look forward to her being upfront with the Australian people about the $600 billion to be spent on the nuclear fantasy. Because the reality is, we know Mr Dutton has said very clearly that he is going to cut, but what he won't say to Australians is what he's going to cut. And we know from past practice, Liberals always cut health and education.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Sheldon.